It all started in 1996. Super Mario 64 was released and showed us how 3D platformers were going to take shape. Since this was one of the first video games I ever got to play, I have a lot of memories with it. From its blocky graphics to its catchy music and memorable levels, Mario 64 is a game that'll stick with me until the end of time. We're never going to get another game like it, or at least not another one as revolutionary as this one. How do you top a game with this scope? Well, maybe these two can show us how. For those who don't know, Banjo Kazooie is a 3D collectathon platformer released in June 1998. Interestingly enough, this was not Banjo's first game. Banjo originally appeared as a playable character in the 1997 racing game Diddy Kong Racing, though he didn't have Kazooie by his side yet. The initial plan was to have every character in Diddy Kong Racing have their own game, but the only few who managed to get theirs was Banjo and Conker. And I guess Tip Top, because he does cameo in Banjo Kazooie and Tooie, but that's beside the point. The plan was to have Banjo and Conker debut in 1998 and 1999 respectively, but after Banjo's game was released, a lot of people started looking down on Conker's game as another kid-friendly platformer. So Conker got delayed for another 2 years and was heavily reworked into an M-rated video game. I bring this up because this time frame of development probably halted any other game for the Diddy Kong Racing characters to be made. But I am getting severely off topic. It's just interesting info I wanted to share though. Back to Banjo. The origins of his game is pretty intriguing. It started off as a completely different game that was codenamed Project Dream, and Banjo was initially just going to be a side character, whilst another person was going to be the main character. Project Dream had a lengthy and complicated development cycle, even jumping from being on the Super Nintendo to the N64 at one point. Eventually, it was decided to just turn the game into being about the side character, Banjo, who would be accompanied by his feathered companion, who would later be named Kazooie. The game became more kid-friendly and was a completely different genre by this point, though Super Mario 64 had been released during Project Dream's development, so I'm guessing the people at Rareware just decided they wanted to make a game inspired by that. I mean, could you really blame them? Mario 64 was such a unique moment in the gaming industry, so why not use elements from said game while also incorporating their own additions and improvements? I've been in the mood to review both Kazooie and Tooie after recent events.
That was a fucking chicken! Oh my god! That was a fucking chicken! Oh my god! Look at that!
So yeah, I guess you can say I'm pretty excited. Well, without further ado, let's review Banjo Kazooie. The plot of Banjo involves an evil witch named Gruntilda who wants to be the most beautiful woman alive.
Unfortunately, she looked like an open autopsy.
In order to become the most beautiful woman, she kidnaps who's said to be the most pretty girl on the planet, Tootie. Yeah, this game's plot's pretty silly. Tootie just so happens to be the younger sister of her main character, Banjo, who gets snapped at by his bird friend Kazooie, complaining about how she wants to go on an adventure. Eventually, she hears Tootie getting kidnapped and wakes up Banjo, and thus, the two are off on their adventure to go save Tootie from Gruntilda. That was the plot for Banjo Kazooie. It's generic and extremely basic, but it's serviceable stuff. Throughout the game, you get an awful lot of banter between characters, and these make for some pretty funny interactions. My favorite character is probably Kazooie, not only because, well, I love birds, but also because she's such a snappy character. She's always finding ways of low-key mocking people her and Banjo are trying to help, and she always makes me laugh, especially later on in Tooie. Apart from that, the way they chose to make the characters talk to each other is via text with repeating voice samples. This actually helps shape up the game's own personality. It's honestly one of the most iconic things about Banjo Kazooie, and it was a pretty interesting way of getting around the difficulties of adding full voice acting to an N64 game, which seemed to be something they finally mastered just at the end of the system's lifespan. Even though I like the way the voice samples are implemented, the text itself can be pretty slow-paced at points. You can hold the A button if you want to speed it up a little bit if you're feeling impatient. Moving on to the gameplay, Banjo-Kazooie takes on a similar gameplay style to the one seen in Mario 64. Banjo, I would argue, is a lot more agile than Super Mario. This is something I noticed immediately about this game. The analog controls, on the N64 version at least, feel incredibly accurate and perfect. The N64's analog stick was tough as nails, so I find it impressive how Rare was able to take full advantage of its movement. The point of Banjo-Kazooie is to collect as many objects in every level as possible. The objects include music notes, which are kinda like coins in Mario, and these can be used to unlock more areas in Gruntilda's lair, which is the main hub area. However, the shiny objects you'll want to focus on are called jiggies. What are jiggies? They're these golden jigsaw pieces that you collect after completing a specific task in a level. Jiggies can be used in certain parts of the hub area to unlock new levels to go to. There's 10 jiggies to collect in each level, along with there being 10 to unlock in the hub area, plus there's 100 music notes in each level to collect. In total, there's 100 jiggies to collect in this game, meaning there's about 90 you can collect in the actual levels. So yeah, there's just 9 levels in the game for you to explore. Exploration's a main element in Banjo, and I think every level pulls this off really well. With the exception of one level, but I'll get to that soon. First off, there's the 2 main hub areas in this game, technically. The first is Spiral Mountain, which is a wonderful opening level that can help you learn all the moves and attacks you start out with. They can be given to you by a character named Bottles, who also gives you the option to skip the tutorial. This is nice, but you'll still have to look for Bottles in the actual level so he can tell you how to use certain new moves. I guess this is good for new players, but for people replaying the game, this can feel a little tedious and he doesn't stop giving you new moves until around the 6th level. Apart from that, Spiral Mountain is a wonderful starting level that highlights a lot of positive aspects about the soundtrack just from the beginning. Yeah, I can't help but mention this already, but Banjo Kazooie's soundtrack is absolutely spectacular in terms of composition and variety. Grant Kirkhope, this man, he is such an amazing composer. A part of me feels like he was having a total blast composing this game, seeing how the main characters' names are literal musical instruments. Therefore, you're going to be hearing a lot of the banjo and kazoo in most levels, which is a very nice detail. Spiral Mountain and Gruntilda's Lair both have incredible music tracks and help build up the atmosphere just right in each hub area. Moving on to the actual levels, the first is called Mumbo's Mountain, a level that I love a lot. It's cleverly designed and goddamn I love collecting things in this game, it feels so satisfying. One fun gimmick is collecting these 5 creatures named Jingos. Finding all 5 colors of them will help you unlock a Jiggy, which is dope. Another thing you'll come across in this level is Mumbo Jumbo's hut. Mumbo Jumbo is a shaman who can transform you into a specific animal to help you collect more Jiggies and or unreachable items in levels. To do this though, you'll need to collect these silver skull heads that are spread out throughout the levels. Thankfully, Mumbo only appears in a few levels rather than every level, so having enough skulls for him will become much easier and more common to have enough for. A move we learn in Mumbo's Mountain is one that I absolutely love. It's the Talon Trot. This is a move where Kazooie pops out of Banjo's backpack and lets you control her to run around and hop on steep hills while Banjo rides on her back. This move is so damn great. Kazooie is so quick on her feet, and I often use this for traveling faster in hub areas and other levels. I love it. Moving on, the second world is Treasure Trove Cove. This level is also pretty great. I love the aesthetic, and the music here is so catchy. One thing that's actually terrifying here is Snatcher, this freaky ass shark that appears every time you go in the water. Yeah, fuck Snatcher, dude. In this level, we also learn how to use these green and blue pads. The green pads allow Kazooie to launch up in the air, while the blue pads can actually allow Kazooie to fly, but it requires you to collect these red feathers in levels so Kazooie can keep flying. Thankfully, they're everywhere, so there's nothing to worry about here. World 3 is Clinker's Cavern. This level's pretty decent, though this is where the difficulty starts to rise up a little. This is also a level where you gotta swim a lot, and if you're an aquaphobe, yeah, you're gonna hate this level. You can drown really easily here if you're not careful. So be sure to master the swimming controls, which I feel are pretty okay. A lot of people say that Banjo controls terribly underwater, but I was able to adapt to these controls just fine. You can use the B button to swim faster, which I usually recommend if you want to try to avoid drowning. The move you learn here is a feather shield sort of move, which can make Banjo invincible for a brief time. Much like how the flying requires red feathers, the feather shield requires golden feathers, which are also spread throughout the levels and are pretty easy to find. However, you can only hold 10 gold feathers opposed to how you can hold 50 red feathers. Then again, Rareware probably didn't want this move to be too OP, so I can kinda understand why they decided to limit the power in this fashion. World 4 is Bubble Gloop Swamp. This level is okay, but it's definitely one of my least favorite levels in the game. It's alright, but I'm not the biggest fan of the swamp theme. And I also hate how every time you go in the water it can damage you, and just by walking in it, that's just not fun. Though you do learn a move here where you can use these boots for traversing through waters just fine. So that makes this level a little easier to handle. This is also another level where you can visit Mumbo Jumbo, who turns you into a small alligator, which makes traveling in water not harm you anymore. That's cool. World 5, Freeze Easy Peak. I love this level, it's one of my favorites. I'm such a huge fanatic for Christmas themed levels, so this world is an A+ in my book. I love the bit where you can climb up the giant snowman using its red and yellow scarf. God damn it, what a memorable set piece. There are ice physics, but I'd recommend using the Talon Trot since Kazooie doesn't slide on the ice. This should make it a little easier to play through. Mumble's hut is also in this level, and it's here where you can turn into a walrus. Coolio. The water here is cold as hell, so being a walrus makes the temperature not harm you. Compromises like these can really make me love this game. World 6, Gobi's Valley. I'm usually not a fan of desert themed levels, but this one actually surprised me. I really like this level. It's got a lot of fun little puzzles and other structures to explore. One thing that surprised me is that I actually managed to get all 10 Jiggies here while recording footage. I'd usually only be able to do that on the first 2 worlds, and this one was the 6th level. Huh, alrighty then. This level is also where you learn your last move, which is a speed upgrade by using these speed shoes. They're really great, and helpful for certain objectives in multiple levels. World 7, Mad Monster Mansion. This is another favorite of mine. Like Christmas, Halloween is one of my favorite holiday themes, so this level is really wonderful to both look at and listen to. I often find myself listening to this level's music whenever Halloween starts to roll around. That and Pumpkin Hill because, come on now. Mumble Jumble's also here, and he turns you into a tiny pumpkin. Yay! One enemy here that I hate are these green ghouls, but just load up on gold feathers and use the feather shield to knock them out of existence. Eat shit, you fucking ghosts. World 8, Rusty Bucket Bay. I hate this level. This is like the only level in the game that I actively don't like. Not only is this one of the more difficult levels, but there's just not a lot of fun set pieces here. The engine room is borderline unplayable with its spinning platforms. And with this game's at times slippery physics, you can die here really easily. This brings up a main issue about this game that becomes really apparent here. When you die, you have to start recollecting everything you had. Thankfully, you don't have to recollect the Jiggies, but any Jingos and large amount of music notes you may have collected, well, you died. You gotta recollect all of it. Good luck. Apparently, the HD version of this game did fix this issue, but holy crap. This is such a mean method of making the player have to recollect everything in the N64 version. This issue only ever happened to me more than once in Rusty Bucket Bay, and I swear, this is the only level where I actually game overed here. The water's also irritating. How? Well, that's actually oil-filled water, which can take away your health even when you're surfaced. Plus, swimming here can make you drown way faster than in any other level. Thanks, Gruntilda, you witch bitch. Seriously, fuck Rusty Bucket Bay. The music here is still great, but this level just overall stinks. I never look forward to replaying this one. Thankfully, my least favorite stage is followed by my most favorite stage. The last level in the game, World 9, Click Clock Wood. I adore this level, from its music tracks to its wonderfully huge level designs. Seriously, this level's scope is massive, and it changes depending on which version of the level you enter. The 4 seasons, spring, summer, winter, and autumn, are all represented in this level, and each theme looks absolutely beautiful. Seriously, this game looks pretty great for the N64, and Click Clock Wood is a wonderful level to look at and listen to. The spring music alone is one of my favorite tracks not just in this game, but of all time. This game's soundtrack is a gift. This is also the last level where Mumbo can transform you, and he turns you into a bee who can fly really high up in the air. Nice. After finishing all the levels and collecting enough music notes, you unlock a new level of sorts. Grunty's Furnace Fun. A despicably difficult board game where you have to answer multiple questions and perform numerous tasks correctly to make it to the end to rescue Tootie and win a Jiggy. This part of the game sucks. Even if you bother looking up the answers online, it's timed and you can't pause it. So good freaking luck. This is like the one part of the game where I wish I could use save states. You even lose part of your health every time you get an answer wrong. God damn it, I hate this part of the game. Fuck this quiz game, Jesus. Beating the board game also gives you access to fighting off Gruntilda, who's easily one of the most difficult final bosses I've ever fought, who I've also never really beaten. Yeah, I'll admit, I've never actually beaten this game because of Gruntilda. Don't judge me. Also, if you're wondering why the game's playing in Japanese, it's because I had to use a Japanese copy which had access to the Gruntilda fight on it, because I didn't want to go through the effort of playing this fucking quiz game again. So yeah, sorry, I'm a hack. But you know, find out what the ending is yourself. Just go play the game, and when you get to Gruntilda, good luck. Anyways, Banjo Kazooie is a game that holds a very special place in my heart. I love it for its variety of levels, I love the amount of depth that goes into hiding these things in stages, and I just overall love this game's wholesome feel. This is still a very unique game for the N64, and if you love collectathons and somehow have not played this game, wow, you are missing out on a lot. Go play this game on either the N64 or the Xbox Live Arcade, whichever one you have access to. Banjo Kazooie is a wonderfully wholesome good time with its creative levels and catchy soundtrack. So I highly recommend this to anyone who loves platformers and or collectathons, or both. In a way, it's probably the most perfect collectathon ever constructed. Minus one level, maybe. Yeah, fuck Rusty Bucket Bay. Thanks for watching! Hey, what's up? It's me, your boy, the myth, the legend, the hack. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the Banjo Kazooie review. I'm sorry if it was a bit too short. This was definitely one of the more easier reviews I could have written. Kinda happy about that. I didn't want to get too in-depth about this game because I didn't want to spoil like all the cool little bits in the game, so definitely play Banjo Kazooie whenever you can. It's a really fun game that's very wholesome and dear to my heart, so yeah. Also, if you're mad at me because I couldn't beat Gruntilda, I swear, I even point this out in the footage. I almost beat Gruntilda while recording on the Japanese copy, but I literally died whenever I shot like the last egg I needed to shoot to like beat her and awake that final Jingo. I was so pissed when that happened because I heard the sound like chime go off whenever I got the egg inside, so I'm just like, oh, yes, I did it! And then I got hit by the fireball and I fucking died. So I'm gonna make a deal with you guys. I couldn't beat her for the review, but if I ever do a wet on Banjo Kazooie in the future, hopefully I'll have friends with me there because I don't want it to be like a boring me-only Let's Play. But if I have friends there, I promise I will be the one playing the game, and I will be the one to beat Gruntilda. So yeah, Banjo Kazooie wet, see that in probably the distant future, I don't know. Whenever that happens, I'll definitely try to beat Gruntilda that time. So that's a promise I will make for you guys and will hopefully fulfill in the future. So, hope you all look forward to that. Anyways, the next review was gonna be Banjo Tooie, but that game is so like massive that it's gonna take me quite a while to write the review and beat that game. I promise I'll actually beat the game, don't worry. However, before I do the Banjo Tooie review, I wanted to do like another short little, like fun little joke review on a certain game that some of you who follow me on Twitter may already be aware of what it is. If not, then follow me on my social media, specifically Twitter, because that's where I post my updates usually. So, yeah, hope you all look forward to that. Hopefully that joke video shouldn't take too long for me to write and make. Oh boy, so excited. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the Banjo Kazooie review. Check out my other reviews if you have not, and I will see you all later. Farewell. Bye.